Parents are advised that the following Halloween program contains scenes that may be disturbing to young children.
They are magnificent works of art, rich and opulent homes that dazzle the senses with their beauty, elegance, and grandeur. Who would suspect that within these majestic walls lurk the ghosts of a bygone era? You're never alone when you set foot inside of America's ghostly homes. They stand bold and proud across the American landscape, crowning achievements of the men and women who struck it rich in the land of opportunity. Each home is diverse and distinctive in architecture and design. Each boasts exquisite art, antiques from around the world, and sumptuous gardens. And each is apparently haunted by the restless spirits who refuse to leave. Lost souls who continue to claim the homes as their own. 100 years ago, this stately mansion in Denver, Colorado, belonged to one of the most colorful women of her day, the unsinkable Molly Brown. Some say she continues to visit her favorite home, even after death.
I think a ghost is an energy, a soul that hasn't left to where it's supposed to go for some reason or not. A lot of people have died in this house, as it was a boarding house for many, many years. And so I feel not only Molly's family, but other people are still here.
In 1894, Molly Brown and her husband J.J. moved to Denver from the boom town of Leadville, Colorado, where they had amassed a fortune investing in silver mines. The Browns purchased this elegant Queen Anne mansion for $30,000, and Molly eagerly anticipated her new life as a big city socialite.
At that time, this neighborhood, which was called The Hill, which is now called Capitol Hill, was where all the elite people were moving to after making their fortunes in silver and then gold. This neighborhood started to become one of the most prosperous neighborhoods in the city.
Molly's new home was perfect for entertaining and hosting large social events. Her parties were well attended, and Molly's name regularly appeared in the society pages of Denver's newspapers. But she was unable to gain acceptance into the upper strata of the city's wealthy class.
She's essentially a river rat from Hannibal, Missouri. And she made up all sorts of stories over the years, such as claiming that as a river rat at Hannibal, she hung around with Mark Twain. But generally, by the 1890s, Denver high society was already quite stratified, especially among daughters of American revolutions, women whose husbands were from back east. They were from back east, already had established fortunes, and they had fairly little use for a river rat like Molly Brown. So she was generally scorned on this, mocked by Denver high society.
Molly was frustrated by the snub from Denver's elite, but she didn't let it show. She and J.J. often attended the opera in their private box. In between parties, the Browns traveled to exotic destinations around the world, and Molly began to decorate her home with art and furnishings that she had acquired on these trips.
The statuary out front of the house is original to Molly Brown. She brought them over from one of her many trips to Egypt.
A visit to the Molly Brown house is a feast for the eyes, and a cautionary walk among the spirits. The tour begins in the entry hall.
Most of the wood on the downstairs is oak. The Victorian era was considered the golden age of oak. So most of the woodwork that's in the entry hall is oak. The formal parlor was strictly used for entertaining. You only gathered in the formal parlor when you had guests. This room got a lot of use when Molly lived here. Despite everything that you have heard, she had many, many friends, and her parties were very well attended.
The elegant dining room features an unusual hand-painted web design on the ceiling. The silver table set is the same one used by the Browns and their guests. Molly and JJ had 2 children, a son and a daughter. But as the children grew older, the once loving couple began to grow apart. Molly and JJ even slept in separate bedrooms.
Families of wealth could afford separate bedrooms, so they had separate bedrooms. Molly covered 3 of the bedroom walls, including her own, with a silk brocade wall covering. Not only did it muffle the sound in the room, but it also delights the eye with subtle pattern changes when light reflects off the brocaded surface.
In her day, the vibrant spirit of Molly Brown was legendary. When we return, some say that spirit has come back from beyond the grave. Molly Brown enjoyed an opulent lifestyle in her Denver home, but her heart was on the road. In the spring of 1912, Molly was again far from home when a chain of events began that would change her life forever.
She was traveling in Egypt when she had received word that one of her grandsons was ill, and the only passage back to the United States was on the Titanic, so she booked herself a first-class one-way passage.
On board ship, Molly enjoyed hobnobbing with some of the wealthiest and most powerful people on Earth. Then came the night of April 14, 1912. Steaming full speed ahead through the North Atlantic, the Titanic slammed into an iceberg and began to sink. Molly was lowered in lifeboat number 6, where her buoyant spirit helped fellow survivors live through the frigid night.
While in the lifeboat, women were very hysterical. She calmed the women and got them to row away from the Titanic and got them to sing so that they would calm down and be productive in saving themselves.
After the disaster, Molly returned to Denver, now more famous than ever. In 1914, she ran for the U.S. Senate, but was defeated. By 1920, Molly and JJ were separated. With no husband and her children grown, Molly spent less and less time in Denver. She now preferred living on the East Coast, and it was in a New York hotel that Molly Brown died in 1932 at the age of 64. After her death, Molly's beloved Denver mansion served a variety of uses, including a home for wayward girls. By 1971, the Molly Brown house was saved from demolition by a group of Denver citizens who wanted to preserve the home and the memory of Molly Brown. Today, the home is a museum and reportedly preserves much more than Molly's memory. Dozens of eyewitnesses claim to have seen the ghosts of Molly, JJ, and even one of their servants.
One of our volunteers was looking in the hall mirror, and she noticed a man standing on the stairs behind her. She said he looked like a butler. When she turned around, there was nobody there.
Another haunting offers startling evidence that Molly is hosting dinner parties for the dead.
Our curator one morning was opening the house. We try and keep the chairs pushed into the dinner table. When she came in, she noticed that all the chairs had been pushed away from the table, indicating that a dinner party had just ended and the guests had just left.
A beautifully dressed woman in Victorian clothing has been seen in the house. Is it the ghost of Molly Brown waiting in eternity for her guests to arrive?
We do Victorian dining experiences here at the Molly Brown House, and one of our volunteers was done preparing a dinner. Before the guests had arrived to the table, he noticed a Victorian woman sitting at the head of the dining room table, and he was the only person in the room at the time.
Employees say they have to work overtime to keep up with the mischievous spirits who are continually opening windows, turning on lights, and shifting pictures on the wall. The spirit of Molly's husband, J.J. Brown, has also made its presence known in a number of unusual ways.
Despite a no smoking prohibition in the house, there's smelling tobacco smoke in there, especially pipe, cigar smoke. And the story goes is that J.J. Brown never liked Molly's parties and social affairs. And rather than patronizing with the guests in the living room or out in the garden, he would rather go down to the furnace or up to the attic and smoke his cigars at that time. And that's where the tobacco smoke is from.
Molly's bedroom seems to be a focal point of ghostly activity. A disquieting aura pervades the room, and some visitors are hesitant to enter.
People would go into Molly's bedroom, and they would suddenly feel this icy, cold presence in there, as if there was some spirit or something draining life and vitality from them. Others claim that Molly's very sad, depressed presence is in the house.
Perhaps the spirit of Molly Brown is still longing for the people and places she enjoyed most in life. If so, she is not alone. Next, we'll travel to South Florida, where the ghost of novelist Ernest Hemingway is said to haunt his beautiful seaside home. Once one of the wealthiest cities in the nation, Key West, Florida boasts some of America's most beautiful and decorative mansions. Famed novelist Ernest Hemingway decided to make the tropical island his permanent home after falling in love with the city's magnificent dwellings.
They were built by ship captains originally. Of course, when the pirates came here, they were part of the history. This house itself, by the way, was built in 1849 by a very famous shipbuilder from Georgia. His name was Asa Tiff.
Constructed from coral dug up on the property, the Hemingway home is as sturdy as it is elegant.
The actual style of the house is called early colonial Spanish. But as you can see, it is the same architecture as New Orleans. The reason it's so different is because these walls are 18-inch thick coral rock blocks that were quarried out of the ground. Hemingway bought it in 1931. It was 80 years old when he bought it.
Hemingway had found his personal paradise in Key West, writing in the morning, fishing in the afternoon, and enjoying the company of good friends in the evening. Hemingway also found time to relax on the spacious veranda of the mansion.
Early colonial Spanish-style houses have some sort of porch or veranda. It's part of the lifestyle of living in the tropics.
Ernest Hemingway lived in the mansion with his second wife, Pauline, and enjoyed some of the happiest and most productive years of his life. It was here he wrote the classic novels To Have and Have Not and For Whom the Bell Tolls, as well as many other short stories and plays.
His studio is in the carriage house, which is the building behind this one, which was a hayloft that he actually turned into a studio. That's the reason he bought this house, by the way. He knew what he was going to do.
A favorite feature of the home was a luxurious swimming pool built just below Hemingway's studio.
The pool, it's interesting because it was the first pool built on the island. Pauline had it made for him as a surprise gift. He was away. He was in Spain as a war correspondent. He was covering the Spanish Civil War. For Whom the Bell Tolls was that book. But when he got back, he was surprised. He loved it until he found out how much it cost. The house cost $8,000. Well, Pauline spent $20,000 on the pool. And this is 1938. A lot of money.
Another lasting legacy of Hemingway's time in the house are the scores of lazy felines that seem oblivious to the many tourists who visit the home.
He had over 60 cats when he lived here. The famous Hemingway cats. We have 56 descendants of his cats today. 50% of them have extra toes. Instead of 5 and 4, they have 6 and 7 on the front paws, and some have 1 extra on the back. The terminology is polydactyl. His first polydactyl cat was given to him by a captain off a boat from Boston that he met here at Key West. And, of course, he bred them here, and that's why they're called Hemingway cats today.
The 6-toed cats aren't the only holdouts from the past. Nearly 40 years after Ernest Hemingway took his own life, his spirit apparently wishes to stay on in his tropical paradise. Hemingway's ghost and several other unidentified spirits have been seen and felt in the house.
I've had a lot of the tourists who've come to me during a tour that have felt him in the studio, and they're serious. They come down and they're shivery and got cold chills, and they've felt his spirit.
After Hemingway's death in 1961, reports started coming in about the Hemingway house and about his ghost. First, there was the typing, the clacking away the typewriter keys, which is, by the way, common with ghosts. Ghosts who were into that type of thing, oftentimes they come back, and that can be the residual energy, like I said.
Besides the weird feelings and sounds, the ghost of Hemingway has been witnessed on numerous occasions. It is no wonder that the place he loved so much in life would be a favored stop in the spirit world.
Lots of times with ghost houses, people see lights flickering or they get the cold chills. With the Hemingway house, lots of times it's a full-fledged apparition. People will see the image of Hemingway. Some tourists who were in town were walking by the house at night. They looked up and they saw a man who looked just like Hemingway standing up on the balcony. They waved to him. He waved right back, and then he vanished in the thin air. So it seems that Hemingway has come back to the place that he loved most.
When we return, 3,000 miles away in San Diego, California, another Spanish home is said to be swarming with the spirits of its rich and colorful past. The crowning jewel of the Old Town section of San Diego is La Casa Estudillo. Built in 1829 by Jose Antonio Estudillo, the structure is one of the oldest buildings still standing in the state of California. The sprawling adobe compound gives visitors an accurate look at 19th century life in the Spanish Southwest.
La Casa de Estudillo is first and foremost a defensible enclosure. The standard construction style from this period is adobe bricks. Some of the walls here are between 3.5 and 4 feet in depth. And if you'll notice, the entire house is enclosed so it can be defended. As such, we do have this lovely courtyard, but it also can operate as a small fort if need be.
The home served as the social mecca for old San Diego and features 12 rooms surrounding the central courtyard. Entertaining and relaxing were prime activities of the Estudillos.
The sala, in particular, continues to convey what it must have been like for a wealthy landowner on a day like today when it's just warm and a cool breeze. It's easy to envision what life might have been like in that room, perhaps reading a book, a glass of wine, or a cigar.
The Estudillos lived in the house with their 11 children. To step into the house is to step back into history, to see what life was like in California before it became a state. The home is now a popular tourist attraction in San Diego, drawing thousands of visitors each year. But it is the visits of long-dead residents that provide a haunting look at 19th century life. In 1993, John Lamb had his own ghostly encounter.
I was chatting with a state park worker, and as we entered the sala, I glanced into the opposite corner of the room, and I saw him. And it's kind of amusing now in retrospect that the ghost researchers should look and be surprised by seeing a ghost. I was surprised. He was wearing a white shirt, an older-fashioned white shirt. His form was opaque and somewhat translucent, but there's no question he was there. I don't think he was aware of me. To a certain extent, it was almost like a sort of blurred or faint television image that I caught a view of for a moment.
Another spirit, perhaps belonging to one of the Estudillo children, has been detected in the old playroom.
It was about closing time and it was quiet, so I decided to take a break and I came over. I was just looking around in the different rooms. I just look around. I've never expect to see anything. I walked over to the child's room and I looked at the rocking chair and I noticed that it was moving back and forth really slowly. I mean, it was definitely moving, definitely moving.
The ghostly activities at La Casa Estudillo led reporters from a local newspaper to the home in 1988. After feeling extreme cold and seeing a flashing red light in the master bedroom, the reporters had seen enough. However, the ghost wasn't through. An expensive camera lens somehow jumped from its case and smashed on the floor. When the reporters played back their tape recorder, they heard a haunting message from the spirit world, telling them to get out. What ghost haunts La Casa Estudillo? The experience of a female state employee may offer a clue.
She becomes aware of what looks like a fully physical figure in a robe in the chapel, gliding silently toward the doorway leading to the priest's bedroom. As she enters the room, the figure has vanished. The air is cold and still, the classic ghostly cold spot. She backs away and subsequently searches the entire house and finds no one.
A well-dressed man from old California, a Spanish padre, and other ghostly apparitions seem unwilling to leave La Casa Estudillo. What keeps them here?
I'm not surprised at the number of reports of ghost phenomena here. The house is tremendously evocative. Walk through the portals, you walk back in time 160 years. Very seldom have I visited this house, and I have not had the sense that at any moment you might not expect to see a former resident step outside. In its own way, it's a place of magic.
Other magical experiences have been linked to the spirit of one of America's great artists, John James Audubon. When we return, we'll visit his haunted mansion by the sea. One place where the past comes alive, both physically and spiritually, is the luxurious Audubon House in historic Key West, Florida. The legendary artist John James Audubon was a frequent guest at the house, and it is named for him today. Famous for his meticulous depictions of rare birds, the painter and naturalist arrived in the Florida Keys in 1832. Audubon was delighted with the large variety of water birds he found there. Drawn to the big house with a beautiful garden, Audubon was able to pursue his passion for painting birds and enjoyed some of his best years, personally and artistically. If Audubon was aware of the presence of ghosts, he kept that knowledge to himself. But to modern-day visitors, there is no doubt that the Audubon House is one of the most haunted houses in the country.
Different People feel ghosts in different ways, but when you walk this house, many times in the day, but especially at night, if you walk about through the rooms, there's just such a presence there. You can feel the activity that's taking place here. There's some pleasant energies, some not so pleasant energies, but they're definitely still alive all throughout the house.
The Audubon House was built in 1830 by a U.S. naval officer sent to Key West to defend local ships from pirates. Captain John Geiger had local shipbuilders construct the house for him.
It's got some very interesting features about it because it was built by the ship's carpenters.
Although the home looks like a typical antebellum mansion found in the sultry southern states, it has some unique nautical differences. Like a wooden sailing vessel, the Audubon House is fit together with pegs and interlocking joints instead of nails. The upstairs veranda is tilted so as to let water run away from the house, and the bottom floor is equipped with heavy doors and shutters built to withstand the wind and waves generated by hurricanes. Surrounding the home is a lush tropical garden, resplendent with hundreds of brilliant flowers and towering plants. Trees planted in the 1830s still shade visitors from the sweltering Florida sun. Captain Geiger became an expert at navigating the treacherous reefs surrounding Key West. His nautical skill enabled him to salvage wrecked ships in the Keys. And even if he couldn't save the ship, he often was able to save the cargo. Captain Geiger began to adorn his home with beautiful furnishings from around the world that he had taken from the various shipwrecks. Guests of the Geigers lounged in the sitting room, featuring a gold harp made in Ireland by John Egan in 1790. The sitting room also houses an octagonal Chinese tea caddy and a globe-shaped sewing basket. An air of old Key West opulence can be felt in the master bedroom. The canopied four-poster bed is from the Duchess of Kent collection and dates back to 1780. The elegant dining room looks as if the Geigers are still expecting company. The table is set with Chinese trade porcelain from the 1790s, accentuated by glittering antique crystal. A rare Georgian bookcase has kept the family china for over 2 centuries. The room is lit by a graceful crystal chandelier. It is the upstairs children's room that truly provides an animated peek into the past. A Virgil Clavier teaching piano waits in the corner for a new pupil. Inline roller skates, popular toys in the 1800s, still lay scattered on the floor. And an 18th century Italian puppet theater must have provided hours of adolescent laughter. Captain Geiger and his wife had 9 children. While the family lived life to the fullest, they were not immune to tragedy.
One of the big things was yellow fever. Yellow fever, with all the mosquitoes on the island, it was a big problem. The 3rd floor children's room, it's a little less commonly known as the yellow fever quarantine, because that's where the children, many of whom did die from the yellow fever, that's where they were quarantined in their final days.
The Geigers lost 3 of their children to yellow fever and another to an unfortunate accident in the garden.
Outside in the yard, there's the tropical almond tree. And one of Geiger's sons, he was climbing up the tree, picking some fresh tropical almonds. When he was up there, he lost his footing, fell to the ground. He didn't die right then, but he was very seriously injured in the fall. And it was a few days later that he did die, again up in the children's room.
The 2nd floor children's room looks as it did 150 years ago. Toys and dolls look as if their young owners have just left, soon to return and play again. Some say the Geiger children indeed do return to play, again and again.
Nowadays, employees at the house, when they're closing down at night, they'll hear noises coming from upstairs. It often sounds like the patter of little children's feet running back and forth. They'll come in the morning trying to get the lights to go on. They can't get them on. Turns out that the bulbs of the chandelier have been unscrewed. The alarms in that room go off in the middle of the night all the time. Heat sensors pick up movement. When the police come or when they come to check it out, nobody's been moving around up there.
One haunting custom of 19th century America was the painting of portraits that grieving parents had made of their dead offspring. Paintings intended to somehow keep the memories of that child alive.
In Geiger's time, before they had the photography, of course they wouldn't have memories of their children. And when a child passed away, as soon as the death had happened, they'd bring in the artist. Many times they'd do a family portrait, other times they'd just take the child, and they'd prop them up, and they'd paint them. And the artist was usually able to capture their look for the most part, with the exception of the eyes, because the eyes, after they were deceased, never looked the same as they did in life. And with the paintings in this house, you can really tell with some of them that, yes, it was a deceased child they were painting.
If the haunting eyes of long-dead children aren't unsettling enough, consider the Audubon House's mysterious, disappearing demon doll.
It was crafted in the image of a deceased infant. When the doll maker completed it, she placed it next to the infant. They said you could not tell which was which. Now, one theory says that the infant started possessing the doll at that point in time. The other theory says one of Geiger's children, who had died from yellow fever, started haunting it when it came to the house. It was placed up in the children's room. It was interesting, the doll never liked being photographed. Many photographs showed a thick black streak going from corner to corner, almost as if it was saying, no photos. Well, there was a gentleman here who he heard about the haunted doll and he laughed. No, there's no such thing as haunted dolls. Well, they told him it doesn't like being photographed. Talked about the black streak that comes across many of the photos. He went in, now I'm going to get some pictures. He took about half a roll of film. He got out, the house was closing up. He left, got in his car. As he was driving away, camera casing popped open. Roll of film came out and unraveled. The pictures were all exposed and destroyed. Next day, he came back to reshoot the doll. It was gone. Now, some people, they say it was stolen. Other people said she just got up and walked away all on her own.
Although ghostly children seem to be the most active spirits at the Audubon House, the specter of a well-dressed 19th century gentleman has been witnessed, still haunting the house and garden.
A lot of times people will look and they will see a man dressed in Victorian-style clothing sitting on the second floor railing or pacing back and forth on the second floor. Others talk about seeing him sitting in his rocker, just rocking back and forth upstairs, looking out over the gardens. There's been sightings in the garden. They do see a man, again, dressed in Victorian-style clothing, and he'll walk about the gardens just strolling along, not with any certain purpose, but more looking like they're just walking around and enjoying themselves.
Although Audubon spent many happy and creative days in Key West in life, it is unclear as to why he would choose to return here in death. Some ghost hunters believe that Audubon has returned to reveal his true identity, the royal son of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. The legends swirl, but the fact remains, somebody or something continues to haunt the house.
There's been talk of apparitions moving around. A lot of people, because it's the Audubon House, they automatically say, well, hey, that must be Audubon. There's a good possibility he came back. He did find Key West beautiful for the short time he was here. Other people speculate that it might be one of the Geigers, perhaps Captain Geiger himself.
Whoever he is, the elegant gentleman ghost has apparently returned to the house he once loved. Next, we'll step into the beautiful Via Montezuma, where some say the spirit of a gifted pianist is still tickling the ivories. Back in 1887, San Diego was a boom town. Recently connected to the rest of the nation by a railroad, it attracted thousands of new residents. The incredibly ornate Via Montezuma was one of the first tangible symbols of the Southern California boom.
It was built by John and William High. It was built for a musician whose name was Jesse Shepard. The High brothers wanted to bring culture to San Diego, and they thought if they could attract a celebrity here, build them a house, it would become kind of a cultural center.
Famed pianist Jesse Shepard made the most of the offer, ordering up the finest in building materials and interior furnishings. The eccentric Shepard incorporated architectural styles from every corner of the globe.
The house is considered Queen Anne architecture, but it has Gothic elements to it with the gargoyles and kind of a Moorish Russian influence in the four towers also. Upstairs, that was his Turkish retreat. That's where he kept his really valuable art treasures, and he didn't let just everybody go up there. Just the select few were allowed to go up there.
Shepard was a talented virtuoso who would entertain visiting luminaries in his elegant music room. It was here that he honored the masters. Shepard was also drawn to the supernatural. On numerous occasions, he would enthrall his guests by communicating directly with spirits in the afterlife.
He would go silent till Beethoven or Mozart or Chopin. The spirit of the dead musician Jesse felt was channeling through him to play the music. So his concerts were a combination seances and concerts. We have eyewitness accounts where he would play Beethoven with one hand and Mozart with the other.
After a while, Jesse Shepard tired of his San Diego haunt and traveled to Europe to display his talents. By 1920, Shepard had burned through his fortune. Now, almost broke, he returned to Southern California. L.A. was his last stop.
He was at a salon or an afternoon of music that he often held on Sundays, and people would come, and someone had heard that he was broke, that he had hawked the last piece of jewelry that had been given to him by the crowned heads of Europe, and he played his music, and he hit his last note, and he was dead at the piano.
Villa Montezuma has seen many owners in its long history, but the spirit of Jesse Shepard seems intent on staying on. Oddly enough, neighbors have reported hearing enchanting classical piano concertos emanating from the mansion.
Jesse Shepard apparently was a very talented medium, and if you conduct seances over a period of time in a spot, you may literally charge that spot like a psychic battery, thereby providing a venue for other paranormal activity. The other thing that potentially may play a role in this is the apparent suicide of a butler who apparently hung himself in the cupola. And suicides over history have seemingly shown themselves to be excellent candidates to be ghosts. One of the most consistent things that seems to be happening, and this is from residents in the neighborhood, they apparently very routinely report seeing figures moving in this building late at night when there's no one here. Sometimes in the cupola, other times upstairs. But there's no doubt in their mind that whatever is moving around in here isn't human.
Truly the spookiest house in San Diego, Villa Montezuma holds fast to the physical and spiritual treasures of the past. Next, we'll travel halfway across the country to Denver's Croke-Patterson Mansion, a French chateau that is literally buzzing with ghostly activity. Downtown Denver, Colorado seems like a strange place for a French chateau, which in itself is a pretty strange place. The Croke-Patterson Mansion has never really fit in.
This was originally built for a man named Richard Croke. He had come to Denver in the 1870s, a school teacher from Wisconsin, but rather than teaching school in the Mile High City, he rather becomes a carpet salesman, eventually expands into drapes, blinds, home furnishings, and has quite a big fortune and empire by the late 1880s when he commissions architect Isaac Hodgson to design this based on a French Loire River Valley chateau from the 16th century.
Mr. Croak refused to move into his newly built mansion, having experienced an eerie feeling when he first crossed the threshold of the home. He sold the mansion to the Patterson family, and it was eventually owned by a long succession of wealthy Denverites. By the 1950s, the mansion had outlived its use as a single-family residence and was divided into apartments. By the 1970s, the Croak-Patterson mansion was converted into office space. The ghostly residents of the home did not approve.
The workers are having a terrible time. Those jobs that they are convinced they did yesterday, they find they have to do again today, as if there's some prankster that comes in every night after the work is over and sabotages their efforts. And so the general contractor decides what's needed is a vicious guard dog to protect the property. So they fence it off with barbed wire, put warning signs up, vicious killer guard dogs on duty. Few days after they put the dog in the premises, they come to work one morning, there's the dog, dead on the sidewalk, outside the mansion. There's broken windows up on the 3rd floor, where apparently some demon chased or threw the dog out of the mansion.
Once the offices were in place, the phantoms of the mansion made their presence known to the humans now on the premises.
No sooner is it occupied as offices than typewriters start turning themselves on and clicking away. Copy machines start making copies of non-existent documents. The phone banks light up and start flashing, and mysterious calls are coming into the place, are traced as coming out of the place on this, and increasingly there's this fear that there's some sort of demon or ghost or at least poltergeist haunting the mansion.
Finally acknowledging that something was in fact not right at the mansion, the owners brought in psychics.
And amidst this, they decide to have a seance. And in the middle of the seance, the medium is going, check the basement. Check the basement. There is the ghost of a young girl haunting the basement. And they go down to the basement and they sound the walls. And sure enough, they find a sealed off hollowed chamber. And when they break through to the chamber, they find sea sand, lush, beautiful sea sand, something you'd find in Waikiki or the Riviera, totally unlike any of the dirt that is around Colorado. And despite digging and raking in the sand for quite a while, they can't find anything there and never figured out why that sand was in place.
To this day, no one knows the significance of the sand, or if misfortune ever befell a young woman in the Croak-Patterson mansion. But few can dispute the presence of haunted spirits within the walls of this Denver monolith. Like so many other great mansions in America, it stands as a monument to those who once lived there. Beloved by residents of this life and the next, they forever serve as passageways to another time, and perhaps another dimension.